What's up, guys? Welcome back. I thought this would be really exciting to make this piece of content and talk about my first real estate deal. And the reason that it's titled Real Estate for Beginners is because this was my first real estate deal that I've done, so I was a beginner. So I wanted to share my story. I'm a huge fan of storytelling. I love listening to stories, so I thought it'd be awesome to share my first deal and the story behind my first story. And then maybe you guys can take that advice and you guys could take some of that knowledge and help set up your first deal or maybe even your next deal. All right, so we gotta set the year. We're back in 2017. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Chris Ake. And the way that I started in my career in entrepreneurship, way before real estate investing, was through mobile apps and software development. So I started a company in 2011 during my senior year of college, and that company was called Grand Apps. And what happened was when I started my company, I was super broke. I was beyond broke. Like, I was borrowing money from my roommates. And by the way, when I graduated in December 2011, I had to work as a waiter waiting tables every single weekend for a year and a half. So all of 2012, that was our first year in business at Grand Apps. Half of 2013, I was waiting tables. Yes, I was. I was making less than $200 a weekend because I gave up all the good shifts because I just wanted to get out. I wanted to pay my bills and I wanted to focus on my startup. Now, what happened was I became super frugal and I saved every single penny that I possibly could. I was never going out with friends. I was staying in on the nights and weekends. I was eating rice and beans. I was living super frugal, and people would call me at the time Dave Ramsey, and I didn't even know who Dave Ramsey was. So I had to just save as much money as possible. Now, there was a point that happened over the course of years to where I had a significant amount of cash in my checking account. I mean, every single time that I'd go cash a check, the bank tellers would say, "Hey, Chris, have you thought of meeting with one of our business bankers? You have a large pile of cash sitting in your checking." Most people don't have this kind of money sitting in checking. So as we fast forward to real estate, my first real estate deal, you have to know where I've come from to understand how I got into it. So during college, I actually asked the professor, "How do you make money?" He was my finance teacher, and he said a great way to make money is in real estate. I never had an intent to become a real estate agent. I didn't want to list houses. I didn't want to sell houses. But I knew in the back of my mind I was going to get into real estate somehow. So as I was saving up this cash, there was a point where I went to go buy a home, and essentially what happened was I got turned down because my credit was bad, because I never worked on my credit, and I didn't understand it, so I just threw in the towel and gave up, and I let a few more years pass. So as we fast forward to 2017, that's when I got into real estate as an investor. What happened was I had this idea in my head, hey, what if we take our tech startup company and we essentially buy a piece of real estate and we are the landlord and we are also the tenant, right? That's a super safe place, especially if you understand real estate investment. So I thought this would be really awesome. The problem is with Grand Apps, I have 3 other business partners. I am not the sole decision maker. If it was up to me, we'd have already done that deal. But the problem is I have to go convince my business partners. Now, sometimes that could be a pain. If you ever have had business partners, you know what I'm talking about. You love it, but sometimes you hate it. But you all have to work together to achieve a common goal, right? Life is about relationships and working with those, and so that was a little challenging. So long story short, I had this guy approach me. His name is Brent, and if you've seen any of my other videos, you may know him. So Brent approaches me, and he has a mobile app idea. I listen to him, we talk a little bit. I understand that he's in real estate. So what happened was I had this idea, like I said, to buy my own piece of real estate, try to convince my partners, and then put our company in it. So I reach back out to Brent and I say, hey Brent, is there any piece of real estate around that you think I could buy and put my company, Grand Apps, into it? And he had this one piece of property for one of his clients that he was representing that had a 5-unit, you guessed it, mixed use building, and I've done a video on this on my YouTube channel, which maybe I'll have a clip somewhere around here that you could see that and go reference that deal setup. But essentially, he thought this would be the perfect fit for my company, Grand Epps. So I take this deal, I go back to my partners, they say, no, it's bad timing, we just don't want to do it, whatever the reasons were. So again, I'm sitting on this pile of cash, I haven't invested in anything, and I'm thinking to myself, back to what my finance professor told me, and I reach back out to Brent, and I say, hey, do you think we could possibly maybe do this deal ourselves? He says, maybe. Do you have the capital? Started asking me questions, and we started kind of thinking of ideas. Then he said, well, maybe the seller will do a land contract. It's worth asking so we don't have to have the hassle to go through the banks, get things approved, and take time. Also, this property has been on the market for quite some time. Maybe we can make a deal with him. So he approaches the seller, and he agrees to do a land contract. Now it's decision time. We have a $250,000, a $250,000 property up under contract. We have to put 10% down, which by the way is amazing. Go watch the video and see how we set up this deal. It was a win-win for both parties. We had to put 10% down. I had the money, but that's still $25,000. I had to write a check for $25,000 if we wanted to do this deal. At the time, that was the largest check that I've ever written. So I was terrified to write that and to know that I was one of the only sole financial investors in this project. What if something happened? What if something went wrong? Also, it's a land contract. What if we default on payments and they take it back? Your first time in real estate, you're gonna have all these thoughts running through your head. This was how I kind of justified my first real estate deal. Number one, if you go to college and you pay for tuition, what do you pay for? A good amount of money for years on years on years, and you earn a degree, right? So I thought, you know what? If everything fails, if for whatever reason this property is taken back and I lose 25K, it's not the end of the world because you could always make more money. And guess what? That's my real estate education. I'm gonna jump into it by doing it. And my second thought process was if I ever wanted to possibly move the company or my partners wanted to, I would have space for my company. Or if I invest or start another company, I could put somebody there too. Number three, I just always wanted to do it. And if you get real estate, you get it. And you might be watching this going, wait a minute, other people don't understand real estate investing or why it's a good idea? No, they don't. Because when we were gonna do this deal, I brought through investor after investor who were friends of mine to this deal, and they all turned it down. Now at the time I was scared because I thought I needed to partner with somebody, because again, it was a 5-unit, it was a pretty big project, but I'm happy we didn't because we made it work out and the numbers were phenomenal, and I'm happy we don't have to split that profit with another partner. So those are a couple things that raced through my head as I was going through the decision process of getting this deal done. Now, once we closed on it, it was land contract. It was super quick. It was, here's the pen, here's a signing, here's some paper sliding across the desk. You are now the owner of a 5-unit mixed-use property. So guys, that's the story. That's the background of my first real estate deal. That's the people who I knew, who I met, how everything got set up. Again, that was my first deal. That was a land contract. $250,000. You may not be able to find a deal like that, but I just thought that'd be really cool to share. And if you want to click the other video, you can go see how I set that up. And I want you guys to comment below, what's your first real estate deal that you guys have done? Go ahead and comment below. Let's talk in the comments, because I am really curious to see which one and how you set it up, because mine I think was super unconventional than what the average person has done or set up. So again, I'm just curious, comment below, let's talk about some deals. Hey guys, if you like this video, watch a few more. Maybe subscribe. I'm taking my channel in a different direction. Creating content is a fun hobby of mine. Real estate is a fun hobby of mine. I'm combining both into this YouTube channel, so I hope you guys subscribe.